Welcome to Real Estate Profits with Purpose. I am your host, Ian Boshoff, here with Jessica Couch and Joseph Madrid. We wanted to say thank you for tuning into our show. Today's show, we're going to be discussing a move-up buyer options and strategies and the process behind. If you own a home or thinking about buying your first home, stay tuned as we have a wealth of information for our listeners today. Just to give a little background, our mortgage and real estate brokerage provides a streamlined white glove service approach with each client ranging from first-time home buyers, homeowners, and real estate investors emerging into the housing market. And when you work with us, we donate 10% of our profits to the Sweet Dream Foundation. So thank you for those that listen to the show, and be sure to give us a call or text to 916-872-7177 for any questions, or you can log on to promortgagerealty.com if you'd like to find out more. Going into this, Jessica, how are you today?
Great. Excited about where we are in this market.
Oh, it's been a crazy market.
It is, but we're at a place where I'm excited to be.
All right. And Joe, how are you doing, Joe?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
All right, Joseph. Joseph is a loan officer. Jessica is a real estate extraordinaire. So I just wanted to say thank you for joining us. They're all a part of Pro Mortgage and Realty, and these two are some of the best people that I know. So thank you for being a part of the show. So going into this, I wanted to discuss, the move-up buyer plan, just because of home prices have just skyrocketed. They keep on doing so. Anyone that was sitting on the sidelines saying, I'm waiting for home prices to drop, is realizing this now. So be sure to keep on listening here, because we got some strategies for you. Things to discuss here is going to be creating a plan. And you want to create a plan to be clear with all that is involved in buying the home with you. And you want to create a plan for yourself. Like, what's your strategy for real estate? If you're just a first-time home buyer, you haven't even thought about it, or you thought about it, you don't know where to begin, this is a good place to start. Like, where do you see yourself in 10 years with real estate? What do you think about that, Jess?
I think it's needed. I just had this conversation with clients of mine that you're in touch with. You're doing the loan on their deal. They're coming in with a good amount of cash, and they're all women. They're all mothers. And I said to them, "Hey, you had a birthing plan, right? You get a birthing plan together, because you get in there and it all goes out the window. Yeah. You're in pain. It's emotional. This is no different.
Right.
Let's have a plan together, because we're going to find a house, and you're going to be like, oh, we have to have this house. We're going to be emotional about it. Have a plan ahead of time so we know exactly what we're doing, and we're going to refer back to the plan."
Yeah, and the plan is right, too, because, everyone sometimes has their own idea in their head, and they don't talk about it.
Sure, yeah.
Like, hey, well, I want to do this and this to the property. I want to dump all this money into the property, but one person's thinking, hey, I want to sell this thing in 2 years. So what's your take on this, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced the same stuff. It's always such an emotional situation, right? And
yeah.
I think that's the key for us as professionals, is being able to field that.
Yeah.
Right. And then shift it and direct it in the right direction. Right. And help them to understand that we're going to help them meet those goals.
Yeah.
And we're going to help them settle all that stuff down so we can focus on what we really need to get done for them.
Yeah, that's a great point. The be clear. That's what you need to understand. So are you going to hold on to this property? Right. That's one question. Are you going to turn it into an investment property after 2 years and after living in it? Are you going to fix it up and sell it in 2 years? Are you going to pull cash out and pay off debt with it? Are you going? There's a lot of things you can do. What we're going to focus on today a little bit more, I feel like, is using it as a ladder to get to where you want to be. And oftentimes, first-time home buyers, if you're listening, if you're going to have high expectations, and once you realize what the payment looks like, those expectations are going to slowly start coming down. And so it's expensive buying a house in California in general. Entry-level homes, you're lucky if you find a single family for under $450,000.
Yeah.
And
I would agree with that.
And that's sometimes a less desirable area.
Right.
So if you're just a small family, you have to look at this as a two-part play. You need to look at it as, is it checking a few of the boxes, not all the boxes, right, of what you need? Does it facilitate what you need for bedrooms and bathrooms? And is the area, can you live in this area for a couple of years? Yeah. And then, Fannie Mae is saying 9 to 10% equity gains over this year. So by the end of this year, if you buy a house for $500,000, you're looking at a $50,000 increase in equity based on what they're saying.
And
Now,
I think that's also
yeah.
specific to neighborhood. There's some neighborhoods where we're going to see greater appreciation.
Absolutely. You're right. You're right. And cities and all that have a big play in it. But, in 2 years, you could be looking from anywhere between, 80 to, 200,000, depending on what price point you're buying at and what area. And so you see some very strong equity. We don't want to always bank on the equity, but we need to have a plan when that does come. So when you look at this, is why is it important to you? What is important to you is a key thing, is bedroom and bathroom count and neighborhood. And now, what's your strategy? How are you going to get there? Well, number one, you need to talk to a real estate agent to understand if you already own and you want to move up, you need to talk to them about comps. And Jessica, can you elaborate a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, and I would say even a high priority as well, as you just mentioned, is neighborhood. I've had several clients, one of which we went in with the Dream program last year. We couldn't find anything in their budget. We ended up getting a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. This guy's in the trades. We're adding a second bathroom. And then when they go to sell, they're in a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
And this home met all the marks except for it didn't have 2 bathrooms. So don't limit yourself to it has to look like this. Oftentimes we can change that situation up if it's in the right neighborhood.
Right.
Nothing higher than location. Highest priority being location. And then with the comparables, definitely we need to look at comparables and what the homes have sold for. We were just talking about this with the clients that you help strategize with, making sure that we are appropriately priced, because it's a moving needle, right?
Yeah.
That can change in 30 days.
Yeah.
So we have to look at what the home is worth right now, knowing that it's going to appreciate.
Right.
Well.
Appreciation. Well, pretty much you're guaranteed right now that you're going to have appreciation, right? Like the new developments, you've got, if you even put a deposit down and your home's not going to be built for another 7 months, you're going to get appreciation.
Phase 1, you're looking
Right?
at some good appreciation.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes.
Exactly. So, there's that piece. Now, let's dive in a little bit. What is a ladder property? A ladder property, you use it as a vehicle to either move up to rent it out, or move up to buy something else, or move up to buy 2 pieces of property. There's a couple strategies here. Number one, you can sell, take your equity. Let's say you get $150,000 from a sale of your property. Well, you don't have to put that full $150 into your next home. You can divvy it up, right? You can put maybe 80 or 100 to that new home. Now you got 80 sitting on the side for a possible additional investment, like a small investment property, right? That you can put as a down payment that could potentially cash flow. And you could even look at a state, right? So
Right.
you can mix up that investment. You don't have to dump it all on our property, right? So those are good things. That one thing I heard was really cool. This guy bought a single family home, and within 2.5 years, $300,000 of equity. It was pre-COVID. He got $300,000. He turned around and bought a multi-unit, a 4-unit, moved into there for 2 years, fixed up the other two units while he rented one, and then he basically, when that tenant moved out, he fixed up the other one, and then he's bumped up the rents. And then at that point, he turned around and had a big nest egg because he didn't put all that money into the 4-unit. Then he basically had about 100 sitting on the side after the renovations and down payment on the multi-unit. And I know this sounds complicated, but bought the 4-unit, kept cash in reserve, put a little investment into the property, and then he turned around, rented that property out, and put a down payment on his next major home. And so
this is the possibilities that you have when you're working with a team like yourselves. This is my favorite thing to do, is get in the phone with people. Ian and I do it all the time, and strategize like what your goal. And if this is your goal, you just laid out how possible it is.
Yeah. That's what do you think about that strategy? I mean, it's a lot to handle. You may not want to be a landlord, right, Joe?
Yeah. I mean, what I'm getting from all you're saying, and this is something I wanted to share, is the emotional part is what clients mostly have. So it's our job to try to corral that, right? But this is really a financial play, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that it's an emotional thing because your family's going to have a place to live.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is your home is the number one piece to your financial future.
You bring me back down to humanity a little bit. I'm looking at it transactionally, and you're right, though. You know, it is the most important and most emotional purchase that you'll ever have as a family.
Right.
You know, if you have a family.
Right. And so that my point is, for us, like you and I, and even as realtors, Jessica, it's our job to help corral that and focus it into how's this going to get you in a better financial position? How's this going to put your family in a position to do, like you said, to move up, to move up that ladder? Because it's the only vehicle that exists where you can like double, triple, quadruple your financial position in a short amount of time.
It's crazy.
When you have the control of it, unlike the market that's going to go, you know, I'm talking about stocks and bonds where the market is changing and up and down. You don't have the ability necessarily to make those changes like you do with real estate. If the market is down, you don't sell. You keep it rented. You keep making your mortgage. You knew you could afford it when you got in. It's a fixed rate. It's not like rent that's going to go up every year at 10% or could. So you have the ability to just hold and wait until the market's better and then sell. And you don't always have that ability otherwise.
Well, yeah, that's awesome points, you guys. So coming up on the next break here, we've got some more coming up on move-up buyer options and strategies and the process behind it. I want to invite everyone to log on to promortgagerealty.com for more questions. And after the break, we're going to answer this question. What is the latest investment that Warren Buffett has chosen for the Berkshire Hathaway portfolio? We'll be back after this.
Sweet Dreams Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to glorify God by spreading peace, hope, and love to families with medically fragile babies and children. They offer dream bedrooms to children battling life-threatening illnesses, and their Ruse Baby program creates an atmosphere that will lift the spirit of the child, where they can laugh, play, and let their inner light shine. To learn more about the Sweet Dreams Foundation, visit sweet-dreams.org. When you work with Pro Mortgage and Realty, you're supporting the Sweet Dreams Foundation. Partner with Pro Mortgage and Realty today to buy or sell a home and help support the Sweet Dreams Foundation to help more children in our communities. Call or text Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty today at 916-532-8916. That's 916-532-8916, or visit promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 351319 and DRE number 0174567.
If you or a family member are in the process of buying a home, then you'll want to hear this. Pro Mortgage and Realty has streamlined the home buying process, providing you with mortgage pre-approval and a top-performing real estate agent all under one roof. And if you call or text within the next 10 minutes to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, they will cover your closing costs. Pro Mortgage and Realty makes it easy. They will negotiate the best deals and save you thousands by using one company. From down payment assistance programs, DSCR loans, FHA and VA loans, and more. They cover all aspects of mortgage and real estate, from finding you the right finance programs to finding you the right home. Work with a company that can be with you throughout the whole home buying process. Call 916-872-7177 or visit promortgagerealty.com for more information. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 315319 and DRE number 0174566.
And now more with the Real Estate Profits with Purpose on AM 1380, The Answer.
Welcome back, folks. If you're just tuning in, we have been discussing move-up buyer options and strategies and the process behind it. So if you own a home or thinking about buying your first home, stay tuned. I've got Joe Madrid in here, and I've got Jessica Couch, and we've got top real estate agents and lenders here with Pro Mortgage and Realty. So thanks for being on the show again, guys. So we've been going through this, but first I'd like to discuss our last question what is the latest investment Warren Buffett has chosen for Berkshire Hathaway portfolio? Let me see. Well, I can tell you that the filing gives a quarterly opportunity to observe the two of the greatest investors on the planet, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, and their team are doing with Berkshire Hathaway's publicly traded equity portfolio. Berkshire Hathaway purchased shares of D.R. Horton NVR, and Lennar.
Wait, does that mean that the market is not going to crash? I'm just joking. With the amount of building that we see, I think it's pretty obvious, but that is interesting because I do like to take note of what these old guys are doing. They've been at the game a lot longer than we've been alive, right? Yeah. Like, how old is Warren Buffett? Like,
ancient.
Okay, he's like in his 80s.
The Yoda.
This dude has been around forever, and he is not making moves just carelessly.
And he reads.
Right? They
he
are
reads.
well. He does.
You know,
I think if we're going to follow somebody, I think we should follow what Warren Buffett is doing. And if his money is going in a new building, the idea that the market is crashing and that home prices are going to be, slash 50%. My uncle told me he watches everything. I'm like, guys, shut it down.
The news is for a reason. The news on the the CBS, and they want you to think that the market's crashing, so they don't pull the trigger.
Sure.
Yep. That's my opinion. But if this guy, Berkshire, record profits all the time. There's a huge buy-in. You got to spend a lot of money if you even want to be a part of it. Half of their portfolio is in Apple. Not a bad company.
Right.
Bank of America, American Express, Coca-Cola, Chevron, Petroleum, Kraft Heinz, Home Builder, he added to his portfolio, and other undisclosed. So if this guy is investing, they just dumped in. Let's see, they've got a $348 billion portfolio. They dumped in $840
pocket change
million.
Yeah.
So this tells you something, right? It shows you that what is coming to play.
Yeah.
And our inventory speaks volumes, right? And it's tight on inventory. We're not seeing good deals out there as much as we'd like to.
It's very quickly changing, and I want to point out you've been right with every one of your predictions, and you can go back to previous shows and track it if you haven't yet and see that these predictions have been on point and correct.
Yeah, go on the 1380 The Answer. You can download the podcasts that we post, those podcasts, and we have every show. Mm-hmm. You can see every time we've talked on the show about what's happening with the market, it does come to play because I don't invent this information. I research. Mm-hmm. Nothing like Warren Buffett, but like a mini piece of grain of Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
But another company, can I mention? It's a small company. You may have heard of it. It's a company that you may have heard of. It's called Blackwater, right? They're like probably the largest funded group in the world. They have 15% of U.S. home sales the first quarter, right, of this year have something to do with, check this out. So I'm going to read this. The median price of American houses has increased by 28% over the last 2 years as a pandemic-driven demand for long-term demographic changes send buyers into crazy bidding wars. Might the fact that the corporate investors snapped up 15% of U.S. home sales in the first quarter in the United States. 15%. It's all being bought by hedge fund, and because they know that home prices, are going to go up.
Right.
They know that rents are going to go up, and they know there's a shortage of housing. Mm-hmm. So if you're not following what the big money guys are doing, then you're going to get left in the dust.
Hey, so is Blackwater the former Blackstone?
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
they're a leg. So they have. Oh no, it's Blackstone. I'm sorry, I'm saying Blackwater.
Okay,
I'm saying
Isn't that a drink? That's a drink.
No. Blackwater was a. Thank you for correcting me, by the way.
Okay.
I needed that. Blackwater was a independent contracting group for the military.
Gotcha.
Blackstone is the world's largest privately equity company, right? So this one company bought $21 billion the first quarter in real estate, and they're just a division of Blackstone.
So the same guys that have been around for many, many, many years and bought up everything previously that
Right.
everybody knows about, it's happening again.
Yeah.
And you could go back to this prediction in 4 months when
Right.
things are skyrocket high and you can't get a home without overpaying and you cannot get a concession. And you can take it back to this moment in time where we talked about this and we told you that's happening.
Yep.
So I'd like to encourage our listeners to call in now so that we can get you on the road to success. And that often takes 3 months. People are like, oh, I'm ready to go. I checked, Credit Karma, it's different, and you need to start with Ian and do a soft pull so we know where you are and we're really ready.
Yeah, and Joe too. Joe's one of their top loan officers. So if anyone needs a good loan officer, I mean, his voice is so soothing.
It is,
and
it's
he's
very
been doing
soothing.
this, 20 plus years, like all of us here at the table. So when it comes down to understanding your credit, we've seen it all. I've seen 470. I had a 491. I think we were talking on last show when I got into the mortgage industry 25 years ago. And we know how to build credit. We know how to get your credit up. We've seen it all. Do not be embarrassed. I know it's not ideal to talk about your finances and your credit to anybody, but this is what we do for a living. When we get you in that position, we're going to pass you off to Jessica, and Jessica knows exactly what to do. Jessica's got a team. She's the biggest pit bull. She'll get you in contracts. She'll give you credits, which is next to impossible to get. And so these are the people that you want to be aligned with. If it's not us, make sure you have a right team on the other side, and at least let us have a second look at make sure you're getting taken care of.
Yeah. I cannot emphasize that enough. If you are working with a lender and you're just not quite sure, something changed. This is often the case.
Yeah.
Call Joseph, call Ian. How they will do a second look for free, and it's another language. I mean, it's literally like another language to read through this with things you've never heard of and you don't know. Are these bogus fees? Is this something I can negotiate? It's like another language. You need a professional that knows how to read that.
Yeah, if I may say this, I was just having this conversation this morning with a broker, and we were talking about the same thing, kind of, I don't want to harp on this too much, but there is a difference as far as financial professionals in our industry. He was talking about some of the big box shops, like an Americrest. And, I changed the name a little bit there. But, companies like that. And oftentimes, John Q. Public gets kind of sucked into that, the bells and the whistles, right? It's the fancy, shiny stuff.
Right.
But it's really important, just like if you're going to a doctor or a dentist, to find someone that focuses 100% on just home financing and has the experience, and not just the experience, but the accreditations. That's the part I think that sets people apart, is the licensing and accreditations.
Yeah.
And the experience and the ability to be creative, which not everyone possesses.
Right.
You guys offer 10 options. You're not like, here's your thing, and there you're welcome. Yeah. You're like, here's 10 options, and let's break down why this one could work. But then if your play is going to be 3 to 5 years, let's talk about this one and how that could impact you. Let's look at the difference in payments. Let's look at the difference in total payout. I mean, there's 10 options, not 1 or 2.
Right. It's all about strategy. That's what I love about being with you guys. You think so similarly. And it's all about strategy. It's not about getting the deal closed. It's not about getting to the paycheck. It's about building a strategy that's not only going to help you and your family now, but we want to be around for a long time. As long as you have us, we want to still be part of your life.
Yeah, Joe, how do they get a hold of you if someone wants to talk to you about financing?
You could reach me at 916-849-8925.
And this guy answers his phone. He texts back. He answers his phone. If you want to see his muscles, you could FaceTime him.
Dude,
you want to arm wrestle him? I'm telling you,
you're
you're working with someone who's incredibly diligent, and I think that speaks to that. Like you guys both, work out. You're family men. I think it speaks to who you are as a person and how you operate within your business. Yeah. And when you're dealing with people that we're a faith-based organization. We are on it in many ways, including working out and taking your family first. And this is the highest priority if you're putting that into order to really, it's shelter. We talked about this last time. It's like, this is the most important thing. Right. So I want our listeners to know, not only are you really creative, but you guys are like good human beings. And those are the kind of people you want to work with. Well, people that are diligent and healthy and take family serious.
We have the pot calling the kettle black here because Jessica, she's helped special needs kids. She helps everybody that we know. And she's a board member of the Sweet Dreams Foundation with kids with terminal diseases that, get their dream rooms built for them when they're going back for chemo, and some amazing stuff that she does. So, that's what life's about, right? Yeah. It's not all about making money or buying a house or getting a car. It's about what you do with life. And whatever you do for a living, and if you use that as a vehicle to be a better person, we'd like to do the same thing. Use this as a vehicle to be a better person and do better for our community. If we can get you into a home and you've been sitting in an apartment paying rent, and that is one of your dream goals for your family, and to get that backyard and play with your kids or play with your spouse or your partner. I mean, these are things that dreams are made of. It's the most important purchase of your life, and we'd love to be a part of it. We are coming up on a break, but before we do that, one thing I wanted to bring up is basically ask yourself this question: when you're buying your first property, do you want to be a landlord, or do you want a better, bigger home in a better area? These are two important questions that you want to ask yourself when you're about to close on your home, or if you already live in an area where you got a screaming neighbor next door and, talking about your trash cans being left out in the front. So we've got coming up on a break. We've got more to talk about. And also be sure to log on to promortgagerealty.com. We'll be back after this. Hi, I'm Ian Boshoff, CEO of Pro Mortgage and Realty. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we've streamlined the home buying process, providing you the fast mortgage pre-approval and top-performing real estate agents that will negotiate the best price for you, all under one roof. If you call or text to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, we'll help with those out-of-pocket expenses like home inspection, appraisal, and closing costs. We make it easy. From down payment assistance programs, no income qualifying loans to conventional FHA and VA loans, we have you covered. We'll help you find the right financing program and the right home. Be sure to ask about our temporary buy-down program that's negotiated towards your interest rate and can end up saving you thousands. Work with a team that's with you every step of the way. Work with the pros, Pro Mortgage and Realty. Call 916-872-7177 or visit promortgagerealty.com.
NMLS number 351319, DRE number 017456667.
Hi, I'm Jessica Couch. When you're buying or selling your next home, work with an experienced team that knows the business, a local team that knows the market, and that has the skill set to take care of every single detail. We will get you top dollar if you're selling, and we'll help negotiate the best deal if you're buying, all without spending $1 out of your own pocket. Work with Pro Mortgage and Realty. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we cover those out-of-pocket expenses like inspections, appraisal, and help with your closing costs. It's our commitment to make your next real estate transaction easy and stress-free as possible. We're not all about business. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we've developed deep roots in the community. We've partnered with local nonprofits, and we give back. Come work with the team that's got your back. Call or text today. Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty, 916-532-8916. Or visit us at promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros.
NMLS 351319, DRE 017456667. And now more with the Real Estate Profits with Purpose on AM 1380, The Answer.
And we're back. Coming in hot with move-up buyer strategies and the process behind it. What are you doing to buy your first home, and what's your plan? Have you thought about it? Well, we've been talking about it with Joe, loan officer, senior loan officer, 20-plus years experience, and Jessica, 25 years experience, and me around the same. We've been talking about this because we all do a little bit different things here. But we did get a text question, and I want everyone to understand, our show today has been about move-up buying strategies, buy your first home, use that as a ladder to buy your next property with equity, possibly split it up into a new primary with a possible investment. Buying a multi-unit as your second home after you sell your first home with the equity and saving some of it. And I mean, there's so many different strategies we have. And if you missed anything, go to promortgagerealty.com, ask for Joe, ask for Jessica, and they can help you out on the strategies that we've been talking about the show. So we did get a text question. All right. This is from Denise. What score do you need to purchase a home? And do you have down payment assistance programs available? So, Joe, do you want to answer this question?
How much do you need to purchase a home? $1 million.
$1 million, folks.
No, actually, this is one of the biggest misnomers that I keep hearing.
Yeah.
Even today, people still think they need 20% down.
Yeah.
And that's just not true. As a matter of fact, you can get in on an FHA loan with 3.5% down, with a FICO as low as 580, which a lot of people don't know.
Right.
You can even get in a conventional loan at 3% down.
Right.
Which that's the one that I think blows people's minds the most, is the 3% down on conventional. Everybody kind of knows the FHA,
first time home buyer or FHA. That's
right.
That's what everyone thinks.
Right.
Yeah.
But most people don't know about 3% on conventional, right? And we could even do down payment assistance on conventional. There's another one that I've done. It's been a little while, but where there's no income limits.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Right?
That is huge. And that program goes to, well, there's 2 programs, I think, just to add to that. We can go down to a 580 FICO score on down payment assistance for FHA.
Yeah.
And it's called the Chinook Grant Program.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's so many options for everyone out there. And if you don't talk to people that are doing this every day like you, Joe,
right.
I mean, the options are endless. There's that Dream for All program that's coming out, right?
Right. That's coming back kind of. What was the one that was before that again?
Dream Home. Oh, my gosh. Why do I not know the name of it?
Terrible. Dream Home, right?
Well, there's a Dream for All program. Yeah,
That's
well,
what it was.
The one that they came out last year for literally 10 seconds.
Yeah, for 10 seconds. And the money was gone by the time everybody heard about
it.
No, I got buyers under contract during that point in time. Within 3 days. And I want to point out, this is the only buyer last year that didn't work with our team. And they said, we are so sorry we didn't listen to you. Yeah. The lender ended up changing the numbers by 1% that they had to come in with.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I wanted to
please
mention that too. That's a huge deal.
It is
in what we do. I just experienced this with a client where things weren't done up front. That's one thing that we do is we vet it out early. We make sure that we understand what's going to happen and the roadmap and the plan of attack that we need to take so that you succeed. We don't want to send you out there into battle without your weapons.
And knowing what you're coming out of pocket is a really big piece of that.
Yeah.
So when you plan accordingly with a strategy, you know what you're looking at. And when somebody changes that up at the final hour, oh boy, they were like, I am so sorry we didn't listen. You specifically warned us about this, and now it's happening.
There's
and
2
it's too
people
late.
I'd hate to be in that equation. I'd hate to be the lender having to give that news, and I'd hate to be the borrower having to receive that news. Because more so the borrower, because there's 1% difference of $500,000 is $5,000, and to give that kind of information, that's not prepared as a lender,
right?
And so you're not setting that realistic expectation, and that's what we try to thrive on here. So that's what experience comes to play. When you need experience, if you call like a company, I'm not naming names, they have kind of like a ship involved in their name. It shoots way up in the sky, but those guys, that I'm not banging on them at all. I mean, but the problem is those are retail. They get a salary.
Right.
They get a salary. They get paid to sit at their desk because they're not as experienced enough to be able to do this on their own.
Right.
And so you're going to get that type of level of talent when you work with a large corporation and company. When you work with a full service brokerage, we're hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go over the financing. The real estate agents are basically loan officers, And so Jessica knows more than I do sometimes when it comes down to what's needed and whatnot. So we look at you. We're first financing. Everyone wants the house. They want to talk about the house because that's the fun, shiny toy, right? That's what you want. You don't want to talk about the financing. That's boring,
right?
But it's a necessary evil that you have to have. So, and going into this segment, we're talking about financing and rates. The Fed had a meeting just a week ago. Last week, Thursday, and they were talking about rates. So rates, basically, in a nutshell, to keep this as simple as possible, they're not going to improve rates till probably May and June, right? And no matter what, they did say that rates are going to improve 3 times by the end of December.
That's right in line with my 4 months I've been on my soapbox
And other
about,
people like that are saying 5 to 6. And it really depends because you can track on what the Fed's saying, on these 18 members. Some of them are anticipating 3, some of them are anticipating 4, some of them are anticipating 5. And each voting member anticipates something different. But a big thing to do with all of this is where is our economy and the state of it. The Congressional Budget Office spoke on CNBC this morning and said the deficit is now $1.6 trillion. instead of $2 trillion. So that's good news, right? And that's good news for the bond market, as less paper will be needed to be auctioned and absorbed. The CBO does see a big increase of over 60% in the next 10 years, and that's there, nothing else added to things remaining exactly the same. So what this means is, as far as projections for the economy, they anticipate unemployment to rise to 4.4% by the end of 2024. Okay? When unemployment rises, what do we need to do? We need to increase the spending of our consumer spending. We need to boost the economy, because that gives us an indication that our economy isn't hot. Right. So they have to lower rates. And so
thank you for breaking that down in like simple English, because I think a lot of people get lost on that, and they have all these other predictions from their uncle that tracks everything and just like dumb it down. It's very simple. The three things you just said, like here's what's going on right now, here's what's going to happen, and here is why. And I think when you can track this information again and go back to previous shows and realize that Ian has been really spot on with the predictions and timing, I think it's something to heed the warning to.
Can I steal that your uncle? I like that. I really steal it.
It's always the uncle. He's got lots of time. He watches all the shows. Yeah.
Well, one more thing I want to point out. The Fannie Mae home purchase sentiment. The index rose in January to the highest level in 2 years. Right? So what does this mean? Right? The rise was not due to consumers believing it's a good time to purchase, but rather because they feel good about their job, think inflation is coming down, and the record amount think rates will come down over the next year, which we've been talking about for like a year.
That's happening, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just letting you know. Just letting everyone know there.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think about that? Rates, where do you think, I'm just doing a lottery. Okay. Let's say FHA rates are lower than conventional. Okay. Conventional, maybe 6.5 to low 7s, depending on FICO score and loan to value. FHA pushing 5.75 to 6.375, depending on a few things like credit score. Joe, I want to know from you, where do you think FHA rates will be in 2 years?
Oh, in 2 years?
I'm going to record this too, and just we're going to play it again in 2 years.
Yeah, for sure. I think in 2 years, FHA rates are going to be in the 4s.
Yeah.
I think conventional is going to be in the low 5s and touching the high 4s as well.
Okay.
Because it's kind of inevitable, right, that all the indicators are pointing in that direction, and that's the only way that this economy is going to balance.
Yeah. I think FHA is going to push 4.25.
Yeah.
I think FHA is 4.25 and conventional high 4s, low 5s. But we won't see that until probably, in my opinion, 1.5 years, because those thinking about refinancing, don't refinance too soon unless you're an FHA loan, because you can do a streamline without fees.
Right.
And streamline is no income, no appraisal. You can just lower your payment and rate. Right. Now, conventional is a different ballgame. FHA is great because you can streamline multiple times without increasing that balance. And so conventional is a different ballgame. And so conventional, if you refinance, you're staring down the barrel of $4 or $5 grand worth of fees.
Right.
You're adding on, you're extending the life of the loan, but rates are going to be probably at the bottom in 1.5 years.
Right.
So my opinion. Jessica?
I am confident that within 4 months, rates are going to drop enough that all buyers are going to come off the fence. We're going to see multiple offers on everything. I will not be able to get you concessions unless the home's been on the market 66 days and counting, and those homes have a lot of work that need to be done. So prepare yourself. If you're not out right now, you're going to need to get into a house that needs a lot of work that everyone else has passed on, or you're going to need to have more cash to pay over appraised value and compete with multiples. Those are facts. My 20-year-old's always like, facts. He believes the real facts.
I love it.
I need to really steal that one. These are facts, folks. They're facts. This is what's happening. And again, the show's recorded. We can go back to this, in 4 months from now and go, what we told you was correct information. The market isn't crashing. I'm not trying to trick anybody. I'm in this market. I bought another home last year. I bought the small home and I paid down enough and had equity, and I bought the bigger house. We are living this, guys. Yeah. So I want to encourage you to talk to somebody and work with the team that is living this and has been in this 20 years and gone through the cycles. There's no trickery here. We're here to honestly help. I like helping our friends and family and our members of the community be able to get into something with a good deal. And the good deal is right now. It's going to be harder to get you a good deal in 3 to 4 months.
Well, you could look at the trajectory. 3 months ago or 4 months ago, can't remember. They were saying the new slogan was "Date the 8."
Right.
Date the 8. The 8%, date the 8%. No, thank you. That's conventional. Right. Now they're down into mid sixes. Yeah. So what does that tell you? So that brought a lot of buyers back into the play. And we are coming up on our last break here. Be sure to log on to promortgagerealty.com for more information. If you want to get pre-approved with a loan and you want to start talking, ask for Joe or write a message there. And if you want the agent that's going to fight for you, ask for Jessica. We'll be back after this.
If you or a family member are in the process of buying a home, then you'll want to hear this. Pro Mortgage and Realty has streamlined the home buying process, providing you with mortgage pre-approval and a top-performing real estate agent all under one roof. And if you call or text within the next 10 minutes to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, they will cover your closing costs. Pro Mortgage and Realty makes it easy. They will negotiate the best deals and save you thousands by using one company. From down payment assistance programs, DSCR loans, FHA and VA loans, and more. They cover all aspects of mortgage and real estate, from finding you the right finance programs to finding you the right home. Work with a company that can be with you throughout the whole home buying process. Call 916-872-7177 or visit promortgagerealty.com for more information. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 315319 and DRE number 017456667.
Sweet Dreams Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to glorify God by spreading peace, hope, and love to families with medically fragile babies and children. They offer dream bedrooms to children battling life-threatening illnesses, and their Ruse Baby program creates an atmosphere that will lift the spirit of the child, where they can laugh, play, and let their inner light shine. To learn more about the Sweet Dreams Foundation, visit sweet-dreams.org. When you work with Pro Mortgage and Realty, you're supporting the Sweet Dreams Foundation. Partner with Pro Mortgage and Realty today to buy or sell a home and help support the Sweet Dreams Foundation to help more children in our communities. Call or text Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty today at 916-532-8916. That's 916-532-8916. Or visit promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 351319 and DRE number 0174567.
And now more with the Real Estate Profits with Purpose on AM 1380, The Answer.
If you're just tuning in, we have been discussing move-up buyer option strategies and the process behind it. So if you own a home or thinking about buying your first home, please log on to promortgagerealty.com to hear this show, and you can download the podcast. You can also go to 1380 The Answer. They have all the radio shows. And we are the Real Estate Profits with Purpose. So purpose behind that is 10% of our profits are donated to Sweet Dreams Foundation, and Jessica sits on the board. Jessica, real quick, tell us about Sweet Dreams.
Dream bedrooms for children battling life-threatening illness. We also have a Ruse Wraps program for babies in NICU that need tummy time. Great organization. We were out last night just collecting dollars, part of the Roseville Chamber, and a lot of the money goes back to Sweet Dreams. So awesome. I'm a fan of letting everyone know. If it's $5 or 5 minutes that you have, we'd love to have your time. I'd love to have your money. There's so many opportunities. If you want to be involved in a local nonprofit, it's really a feel good.
Seriously.
You just text me direct and we can get you right in. It's 916-532-8916. We have several rooms coming up.
532-8916, 916-532-8916. If you have a heart and a soul and you're in the mortgage and real estate process, call that number, okay? Wanted to just touch on a few last things. We've been talking about the move-up buyer strategy, and we were talking off break about this because Jessica was telling us about a tenant that she knows of that, I mean, we've been talking about maybe not being a landlord, selling your first home, right? After you gain a little bit of profit, ride that equity wave. Mm-hmm. We can get you into the home with down payment assistance, 3% down, 3.5% down, 5% down. You name the number, we can do it. Yeah. Now it's all about payment, comfort, and we structure your purchase around that. But in 2 or 3 years, you're going to have enough equity to move up. If your family's growing, you're going to move up. Now, why would you not want to turn your house into a rental, Jessica?
Because sometimes people don't pay rent for 12 months. And this happened to me at one of my out-of-state properties, 12 months.
12
and
months.
Fortunately, I have a small note, and I was able to make it. But I cannot understate the need for reserves if you're going to rent your house out. Because unfortunately, tenants have a lot of rights in California
and Florida.
And Florida.
Yeah.
It took 12 months to get a sheriff's lockout. 12 months.
Meanwhile, you've got to pay for the mortgage, or otherwise you're going to get hit with a notice of default.
I also had to fix the sink she broke. No, there's some rules, and you have to follow them as a landlord.
Yeah, California is super friendly when it comes to tenants. So, if you're dealing with that situation. You can talk to Jessica. She knows firsthand about that situation. But these are things that you need to think about if your strategy is to buy and hold, and to turn it into a rental. Is that something you feel like you want to take on? You got your full-time job. You want now all of a sudden you're going to be a landlord. Now, if you're ready to go and you're ready to grab that bull by the horns and go for it, we can help. We have a good team. We got a solid play. We work with investors. This is what we do. We see people with portfolios. Some of our clients have 300 properties. I've got a guy that owns half of Yuba City and half of Lake Oroville, and he's moving over to Chico. And half of these properties are free and clear. So we have plans that are already set, and we just can copy them. And now the big thing is what are you ready for, and what are you willing to do? First-time home buyer, definitely want to talk to a lender first, then talk to a real estate agent. So I have some questions about a couple more things about rental property. What do you think? Is it better to have one tenant or four from a 4-unit?
100% go for multifam.
Yeah, multifam.
Multifam is my jam. There is nothing greater than that. Get yourself a quad. You're going to save a lot of time and effort with your trips over there, having all of your tenants in one spot. Wouldn't you agree, Jim?
Oh, yeah. And it's more money.
Yeah.
More money
and you can get in with that one down payment rather than 4 different single family homes. So there's I thank you for pointing out it's a plug and play. So if you say, hey, my goal is ba-dump, Ian's going to go, oh yeah, okay, here's what we want to do.
Right.
Here's option 1, option 2, option 3. All will accomplish your goal. What's your risk tolerance? It's plug and play. It's really that easy if we know what your goals are.
Right. Also the next transition, if your goal is to acquire rental property, is commercial. So anything above
thanks
4
for bringing
unit,
that up.
We do commercial here. We do commercial. We do.
Can you break down the difference with that?
Yeah, the difference, it's different. Like here, say on a residential property, you want to go look at a property that you want to buy. Well, in a commercial, you can, on residential, you can go 0 down payment and look at the house before you buy it. Right. Well, and then you can do all these inspections. Well, commercial, you can't even get the landlord to call you back. You can't get the commercial broker to call you back. You have to have a letter of intent. You've got to be pre-approved, and you've got to write an offer and get it accepted upon inspection. So before
then you could come in and think about an inspection.
Come in and think about looking at a property. And so commercial's a different ballgame. They need, that they've changed. They've gotten more strict. Now they want 30 to 40%, sometimes 50% down.
Wow.
But we can get rates in the high 5s to low 6s, and some phenomenal lenders out there that we've got. So commercial is a bigger pant situation. Big girl pants, big boy pants, put them on, because usually you don't just jump into commercial. You've done a few residentials and you go into commercial. So you can 1031 exchange your multi-units.
Thank you for mentioning that. That's a great option.
So you alleviate your tax hit and roll that profit into buying a commercial residential. So you're looking at 8 to 10 to 12 units, right? And so that's when you can start making the big mailbox money, or getting a large portfolio multi-unit single family. So commercial is a different animal. It does require more down payment. It does require dealing with a team that knows what they're talking about. So that's the difference.
And even the qualifying is different, right?
Yeah.
Because you're looking at what that property is bringing in to quantify you, rather than you living in the property you're exactly and what your finances personally look at.
I didn't even say that. So when like a normal application is a personal financial statement, tax returns, seeing what their assets are from a liquidable standpoint and a property standpoint. And then exactly what you said is understanding what the rent rolls are on the property and the vacancy factors on the property and what the existing cap rate is on the property. So, I mean, it's kind of, you dissect a lot more things, but man, sometimes they're just easier deals. San Francisco, I have some a group that's taken down a 68 unit over there. Wow. And because they got, there was a big oust of all those big retailers, right? Like Bloomingdale's and Nordstrom, and that city kind of has taken a big hit over the past 2 years with what's happened with our government, our local government, and what's happened is the homeless and all that, and the prices just got out of hand. So there's going to be some opportunity if you're a buy and hold person in commercial. Check out San Fran. So, yeah. But you have any success stories that you want to talk about, Joe, that you have recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually. So this is kind of
I know that was like from left field, but I've got 80.
Well, those are our favorite. Let's hear it, Joe.
Yeah. This is a pretty unique situation. So I had my realtor hat on with this one. And there was a home I was selling in Ceres, California, in Central Valley. And it was kind of, it's a fixer, not kind of. It is a fixer for sure. Same thing, Jessica. So this tenant, when we first got the listing, we listed it at market value. The tenant wouldn't leave.
It's my favorite.
Yeah. He said he was going to leave.
This is why we're saying ladder property.
Right.
Sell and buy your next one.
He said he was going to leave, was very amicable. Long story short, 6 months later, no rent, didn't leave.
Good night.
So obviously it was in default, right? He's in default. So we put it on the market. Once we saw what the house was, when he finally got out, we realized it was a dump. So we had
with 15 cats.
Right. And a makeshift marijuana greenhouse.
Oh,
in the back,
good.
too.
I'm glad he
Comes
wasn't.
with marijuana.
As a bonus.
I'm glad it didn't consist of something else that I often see on the stovetop that breaks out a lot of windows.
But
that is
at
a
least
big
it's
problem.
not meth.
Right.
That was where I was going with this. Yep.
Okay.
So it was a little higher quality of illegal drugs. So.
Okay.
But anyway, so we got it back on the market and lowered the price. The strategy was and Ian and I had talked about this, was let's bring it in just under, right? So we can bid it up, right? But anyways, my point in saying this is we got an offer, a very creative offer from a buyer who wanted to do a lease option to buy.
A subject to my favorite.
Yeah, but the cool part is it made it easier to negotiate a shorter escrow, right? Because I'm like, okay, well, if this is what you want, then here's what we want, right? Since you're not getting traditional financing, you're asking our seller to kind of carry this for a little while, then we're going to close this a little faster, and you're going to give us a little more money up front, because that's the leverage that we need in order for my seller to be okay with this. So the cool part is he's going to close this in 10 days. My seller is going to get a big chunk of change, which is going to bring him out of default now. And we've already talked to the bank. So he's not only going to catch up his mortgage, his lease options, he's going to make a little money on that. But what's cool is the buyer's actually getting what he wants too, right? It's not just a one-way street. The buyer's getting home without having to qualify for a loan. He's going to get a year, up to a year and a half, that's negotiable, to get replacement financing. And here's the best part. Here's how we sheltered our seller. He has to get pre-approved with us first.
Obvi.
To make sure, and that was the linchpin of the deal, is, if we're going to do this, then we need to make sure that he's financially sound so we can get this done.
Such good options for someone who couldn't qualify.
Right.
I love that story.
Right.
Man, I love that story. And thank you. I want to hear more stories, but we don't. We're unfortunately.
I want people to call that want to have this kind of success story and give us their questions.
Okay, Jessica, if they want to get a hold of a real estate agent that knows what the heck she's doing, how do they get a hold of you?
You need an aggressive agent with a Tesla. I will come and get you. 916-532-8916.
Joe, how do they get a hold of you?
916-849-8925.
All right. Well, follow us on YouTube, Pro Mortgage and Realty.
Yes.
We are the Real Estate Profits with Purpose. Or you can log on to promortgagerealty.com for more information and insight. We'll see you next week.